Thank you, Mr.
Elise
Chairman.
Stefanik.
Thank you. A question for each of you. Is calling for the genocide of Jews protected speech on your campus, starting with Haverford?
No, of course not.
And what disciplinary action has been taken or would be taken if someone made that call?
Representative, there have been no such calls, and we would use all of our disciplinary actions to follow through on any such call. I would never expect that to happen at Haverford, and if it would, we would deal with that swiftly.
Well, let me ask you a specific question then. There was a student group on Haverford's campus who called for the complete dismantling of the apartheid settler colonial state of Israel by all means necessary. What does by all means necessary mean to you?
Invoking that kind of terminology is repugnant because of what it can mean, and I will not.
So does that depend on the context?
I will not defend that statement.
So what disciplinary action was taken against that group or those individuals who made that call? Any disciplinary action?
Hello, my fellow patriots. Welcome back to Right View Nation, where we speak truth to the radical left and fight every day to protect American values. I'm your host, and today we are going to break down one of the most disturbing and disgraceful examples of what's happening in our so-called higher education system. What you're about to hear is a powerful exchange that took place in a congressional hearing, where Representative Elise Stefanik confronted the president of a so-called elite liberal arts college over a question that shouldn't even be controversial. Should calling for the genocide of Jews be allowed on a college campus? And guess what, folks? The president squirmed, dodged, and refused to give straight answers. You can feel the discomfort from miles away. Because they know what they're doing. They're protecting their radical campus activists while Jewish students are being harassed, intimidated, and silenced. Stefanik asked a simple yes or no question. Is calling for the genocide of Jews protected speech on your campus? The president said, no, of course not. Okay, good start. But here's where it gets real shady. She follows up with specifics, a student group calling for the dismantling of the Israeli state by all means necessary. And what does the president do? Starts spinning, mumbling about how it's repugnant, but refuses to say whether anyone was suspended, disciplined, or even spoken to. That's not leadership, that's cowardice. Let me ask you this, America. If a student group called for violence against any other ethnic group, do you think that would be swept under the rug? No. There would be protests, media coverage, and immediate expulsions. But because it's Jewish students, and because it's wrapped in leftist, anti-colonial language, it gets a pass. And if that doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. This one will make you sick. A math professor actually posted, after the Hamas terror attacks, that quote, "We should never have to apologize for celebrating these scenes. It was a historic moment." You heard that right. A professor at a U.S. college celebrated terrorism. And the response from the college president? These posts are harmful, investigations happen. But again, no clear answer on whether this professor was disciplined. Why? Because they're more scared of offending Hamas sympathizers on campus than protecting Jewish students. And it doesn't stop there.
Was there any disciplinary action taken against that group or those individuals?
Those kinds of statements are
I'm not asking you if they're
very
repugnant.
challenging.
I'm asking about the disciplinary action. You were the one university president who failed to lay out if any disciplinary action has been taken, if any suspensions or expulsions. So I am asking you, was there any disciplinary action taken?
Disciplinary action can include expulsion and...
I'm not asking what it can include. I'm asking, was it taken?
I will not be talking about individual cases here, and I'm saying that that is...
So have there been any disciplinary actions taken by Haverford related to anti-Semitism? Any?
Disciplinary actions are absolutely in our work.
Have they been taken?
Against anti-Semitism.
Have they been taken by Haverford?
Yes, there have been some.
I want to ask you another example. There was a professor of mathematics and statistics who posted after the October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks, quote, "We should never have to apologize for celebrating these scenes of an imprisoned people breaking free from their chains. This was a historic moment to be recorded in their history books." Jewish students have reported that you said this post could be, quote, perceived in many ways. Does this post simply depend on the context, President Rabin? And were there any disciplinary actions taken against this professor?
Such posts have been incredibly harmful to our entire community, and I disavow them and that outcome for us.
Was there an investigation of the professor?
Investigations happen in all such cases.
So yes, in this case.
Investigations happen in all such cases, as I have said. And we follow.
This is a simple question. The other presidents are answering this straightforward as to disciplinary action. Again, these university presidents who are former presidents fail to answer these direct questions. In this case, was there disciplinary action taken or an investigation of this professor?
Respectfully, Representative, I will not be talking about individual cases.
Respectfully, President of Haverford, many people have sat in this position who are no longer in the positions as president of universities for their failure to answer straightforward questions. Another question I have, because this is a theme at Haverford, there was an administrator who said that, quote, racial minority students have never felt safe at Haverford, and that Jewish prospective students should not expect to feel safe and should instead be brave. This was according to litigation against your college. Was there any investigation into this administrator for making those statements?
That report does not reflect the administrators that I know who stand strongly with me and the entire college against anti-Semitism.
So that didn't happen, is your position? Was that statement not made by that administrator?
That statement does not comport with those administrators that I know.
I'm not asking if it comports with the administrators that you know. I'm saying, is it your testimony that that statement did not happen, even though it's coming out in litigation? So are you saying it did not happen?
What I am saying is that I cannot imagine that happening from those colleagues of mine.
Well, let me ask you, if it did happen, what disciplinary action would Haverford take against that administrator?
At Haverford, we do not tolerate discrimination or harassment or bias.
And what does that mean, not tolerate? Does that mean suspension, firing of that individual? What does that mean?
It means following all of our policies, which begin with investigation and then can lead to any of the aspects that you listed.
For the American people watching, you still don't get it. Haverford still doesn't get it. It's a very different testimony than the other presidents who are here today who are coming with specifics. So again, this is completely unacceptable, and it's why this committee has stepped in, because higher education has failed to address the scourge of anti-Semitism, putting Jewish students at risk at Haverford and other campuses across the country. I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. I recognize now the gentlelady from North Carolina.
Thank you.
Stefanik brought up a lawsuit where a school administrator told students, Jewish students, you shouldn't expect to feel safe here. You should be brave instead. You know what the president said? He said, I can't imagine that happening. Not that it didn't happen. Not that it was untrue. He just can't imagine it. That's not denial. That's deflection. Then comes the classic liberal escape hatch. We don't tolerate hate. Okay, great. But what does that mean practically? Is anyone ever fired? Expelled? Suspended? Nope. Because in liberal academia, it's all about saying the right words in public and doing absolutely nothing behind the scenes. It's a PR machine. It's all smoke and mirrors. Meanwhile, Jewish students are isolated, harassed, and told they should feel lucky to be brave. Now let me take a moment to give Representative Elise Stefanik the credit she deserves. She stayed calm. She asked tough questions. And she exposed these college presidents for exactly what they are, protectors of radicalism. They're too afraid to offend their woke donors and activist student groups, so they let anti-Semitism fester. We need more Republicans like Stefanik, more leaders willing to stand up and demand answers. Listen, you don't have to be Jewish to be furious about this. This is about basic decency. If our universities can't protect Jewish students from calls for genocide, what makes you think they'll protect your child when they speak up for conservative values? These schools have become radical indoctrination factories, and it's time to shut the spigot of taxpayer dollars until they clean up their act. We've seen enough. Talk is cheap. It's time for action. Defund colleges that allow hate speech in the name of social justice. Demand transparency in university disciplinary records. Hold administrators personally accountable when they fail to act. Support legislation to protect students from all forms of bigotry. not just the ones approved by the woke mob. Patriots, we are in a battle for the soul of our nation, and it starts in our schools. If we lose our campuses to anti-Semitism, radicalism, and cowardly leadership, we lose the next generation. But here's the good news. People are waking up. Parents, alumni, students, and lawmakers are starting to say enough. If you believe in truth, if you believe in justice, if you believe in real equality, stand with us. Smash that like button, subscribe to Right View Nation, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a dose of patriotic truth. Share this video far and wide, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Should universities that tolerate anti-Semitism be defunded? Let's get the conversation rolling. This is Right View Nation. God bless you, God bless our Jewish brothers and sisters, and God bless the United States of America.